All right, so this year we've kind of all seen in the media, there's been a particular uprise in like natural disasters, particularly Hurricane Harvey, but we've also had natural disasters on the West Coast, wildfires and such. So FEMA, which is the Federal Emergency Management Agency, it is a Department of National Homeland Security. It has reported 340,000 cases of individual assistance that has been applied for and then accepted. Now these individual assistance claims, they can be anything from like Red Cross support, National Guard, basic housing and like needs, and then short-term loans. So why do we care? And how does it actually relate to us? Well, according to the Office of Institutional Research and Planning, we have approximately 715 students here at KU from Texas. Now, we were not allowed to get a direct location of all these students, so we couldn't get an exact number of how many of these kids were directly from Houston. But from the Texas Education Agency, we noted that there's about 22.5% of all Texas students come from Houston. So, applying that to the 750, we can see there's about 160 students here from Houston, and we need to figure out, something to do for these kids. And how are they different from the rest of us students now since this tragedy has occurred? So what exactly can we form in a $25,000 MPO that will help these students academically? So to get into this, we're going to talk about what's actually separates these students academically, and then we'll get into how this MPO is going to function, how it will help them, and then it's also going to offer a cheaper alternative for the community. And then finally, we're going to wrap up with why a particular student, such as one affected by this natural disaster, would absolutely need an MPO such as this.
So now we're going to see what affects students in their daily life. First of all, we're going to talk about student education and employment. So according to a study made by Daniel Arch, Steve Bridget, it was called Employment in Higher Education, Increasing Contradiction. Student employment has been increasing over the last year a lot. Like it says, they stated that every single time all college students are working more and more hours. They say 80% of all college students are currently employed. And also, from the same study, they stated that students should work less than 20 hours per week. It says they should work less than 20 hours because if they work more than this, they're not gonna be focused on their studies. They're gonna have basically side effects of working too much. For example, if they work too much, they're gonna be tired throughout all the week, and for example, they're not gonna be able to sleep a lot, which leads to skip classes, which also leads to lower GPA. And there are also several factors affecting a student's life and their stress life. The most common ones are financial stability, which, like I said, students are working every time a little bit more to keep up with the high rising debt, high rising tuition, books, everything. Also, social life is a big part of stress because since everybody knows, networking it's something that we need to have in college. Also, academic pressure, having lower GPA affects everyone. And time management, this correlates directly to work and how much time they are working. And also weight, and when I say weight, I mean health actually. Because students are actually worried about their health too, so this affects their daily life. And also there was a study made at the University of Malaysia, and they stated that actually stress and academic achievement were negatively and weakly correlated, which means that there were several factors before academic performance that affect the students in a bad way. And for example, some of these sources of stress, like you can say, starting for example a new semester is way more stressful than having a low academic success. And here, for example, like I said, making new friends and getting along with friends, which is important for networking, is one of them. Lack of sleep, having 2 exams in a day, concern about own appearance in every aspect before even having stress over bad grades.
Okay, so now that she stated that stress is not a very good correlation with academic achievement, this could be because a lot of students report stress. Not many students are going to report no stress at all. Those students don't care about their grades anyway. So we have to find another intangible factor that is related and more highly correlated to academic success. And Charles R. Snyder, late professor of psychology here at KU, found one particular substance that seems to affect grade output more than anything else. That's hope. And Charles actually developed the Snyder Hope Scale, which basically measures, a student's GPA correlated with their hope level. So as you can see, high hope students have an average GPA of about 2.85, whereas low hope students have an average GPA of about 2.43. So that's about a 14% decrease in grade point average. That's pretty amazing considering it's an intangible thing that you can't touch. So, when a student gets a call from home, the house is 10 feet underwater and all their stuff just floated down the street, we can suspect, the hope level is probably not going to go up. It's going to affect them in a major way, even though it's not close to them. They're here in Lawrence, but back home they can feel their family suffering. So, we need to figure out a way how we can help these students. And by doing this, we will offer a secondary amenities outlet, which the student acts as the owner. Let me get into this a little bit. So, the ZenPO basically going to act kind of like the other presentation we saw earlier this week. It's going to act as basically a donation-funded secondary amenities outlet. Just, we're going to use a pop-up location, same spot, the old bookstore, and then we're going to use that for about the first 4 weeks of the semester. So right as everybody's moving in, we'll keep it open prior to the first 2 weeks of class, and then 2 weeks following the first day of class. And then we will move all of the inventory into a fiat location during the year because, no one's looking to buy a couch come late November when they got other stuff to do. And we're going to give the student full responsibility of the store. We're going to give him an active working scholarship to manage the store, be in charge of their own funds. And then while they're moving all this inventory into the fiat location, they can also manage a web page to sell product and then also take donations while it's not in the pop-up store and readily available for everybody else.
So as far as financing goes, we'll start with the $25,000, and then for the expenses, we'll incur overhead costs of at least $2,000 a month for the pop-up location, and then for the fiat location, it'll be a rent of $250 a month or $3,000 annually. Student wages are going to be $10 an hour, so 32 weeks times 16 hours times 10 is $5,120 annual wage. And then the pop-up location will have a rent of $3,000 for about 1.5 months. And the total fixed expenses will be about $11,120. So why a particular student would absolutely need this MPO in the form of a scholarship opportunity? According to a study about work-study programs by James Wilson and Edward Lyons, in a research study conducted, they found that a work-study program enables a student to note the relevance of the theory to practice, and thus is a strong motivational device. Also, it attracts able young people to college who might otherwise be unable to attend financially. And finally, it permits more effective utilization of college facilities. Also, only 6% of college students do a work-study program. And some of the other solutions are, so giving the student an opportunity for working for instead of receiving a scholarship in the form of a part-time job would improve their education. Also, commission-based jobs give a more positive outlook than hourly paid jobs. And finally, work experience can be beneficial for students after graduation. Alright, so for commission-based jobs, those who are in commission-based jobs tend to work harder for the reward of performing well at work. When people are given a reward for performing well, they try to continue to better themselves in the field of work and to continue to receive those extra benefits. In return, these workers are more positive during the work because they receive benefits for performance. And finally, how work experience can be beneficial for students after graduation. In a 2013 report by High Flyers Research, giving a student the opportunity for working, So a 2013 report by High Flyers Research, they conducted that college graduates without work experience have little chance of getting a job. High Flyers Research Managing Director Martin Burchell said that work experience is important as a college degree. New graduates who have not had any work experience at all during these studies are increasingly unlikely to be offered a good graduate job after college. Academic programs are increasing, enabling students to gain practical work experience through fellowships, interdisciplinaries, collaborations, trainees, and other forms of professional development. Also, internships may be directly related to a student's research or serve as a seg to opportunities in certain areas. By allowing our students to operate the daily and logistical operations of our secondhand store, it will give them a platform to gain many skills and traits that will in turn further their capabilities in the professional world, and also give them the competitive edge that many employers are looking for these days.
Okay, so today during this presentation we have shown you how students facing crises are less likely to graduate, and having this business closer to campus, right next to all the academic buildings, will allow for easier access to these buildings, allowing for higher grades hopefully. And then while while the students actively working towards something that they control, it will create for a higher atmosphere of hope. And when students work for their own money, they normally become more positive for their future. I mean, anytime we've ever had to work for our own jobs, for our own money, you're normally pretty positive whenever you see the outcome from it. And then at the end, we may not be able to help all the students affected by tragedy, but we can certainly at least hope to help one at least graduate and definitely overcome the crisis. And lastly, I just want to say, would you rather help 25,000 people with $1, which won't go far at all, or one person with $25,000?
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? What about victims of the other two major hurricanes?
Well, we're looking at this, we're not looking at somebody specifically from one instance. We're looking for a student, they're going to run their own business, so we're looking for a B-school student, trying to get an entrepreneur student, if anything. It could be anybody. It doesn't have to be affected by a natural crisis. It could be just somebody just in dire need of the scholarship. So that's hopefully what we're trying to aim at.
So how would people apply for the?
Yes, we could take it from students coming in or students that have already been here, and we could just sort it out through there, have an application process.
Any other questions? Thank you.